where you realise why Wheelhouse boats are so popular. It's cold, it's windy, it's starting to rain, but you can simply shut the door, turn the key and still have your day out on the water. This is Rodman's latest Wheelhouse design. It's the 890 Ventura, and it is in fact the first outboard powered Wheelhouse design they've made for the leisure market. This boat starts at around £96,000 with a single 200 horsepower Yamaha. This one here has a pair of Mercury 200s and is capable of roughly 37 knots. That starts at just over 95,000. Let's have a bit of a closer look. There are two versions of the 890. There's a more fishing orientated one. This is the cruiser version. The fishing one has fewer things in the cockpit, so you have more open space for angling. You also have a live bait well. This one is more angled towards leisure use, so you have the seating, you have two tables here. We've only got one in place now, and they both actually drop down so that you can create a sun pad out here if the weather's good enough. Now this hull is based on the 810, which is an inboard boat. Obviously no need for an inboard engine on this 890, so this space beneath my feet, which is where the engines used to be, is now completely open and a huge storing space for all your cruising gear. Let's step inside the Wheelhouse, which is just where you want to be on a day like this. And of course a Wheelhouse design means that you have somewhere sheltered to have your lunch if the weather isn't so good. This dinette table also drops down to make an extra berth to supplement the doubles below decks. This is hull number one. It's a prototype. On hull number two they're going to have the doors open the other way, and this backrest will slot in this side so that you can sit and face into the cockpit on nicer days. One of the 890's big selling points is the fact that you have access into the Wheelhouse aft from the sliding doors, but also this side door, which means you can get out of the decks easily and communicate with crew. There is a version with a solid back and just a window, but if it was me I'd always pick the one with the doors. It just makes it so much more versatile. As for the driving position itself, in this seated position as I'm in now, it's actually very good, especially on a rough day like we had off Portsmouth today. You can brace yourself easily against the chair and the position is good, view is excellent, and of course the wraparound windscreen helps here. And another byproduct of the upright screen, meaning that you don't need to use the wipers very often because water just runs straight off the screen. Rodman are going to change this steering wheel going forward. This one looks like it's come straight off a Dodgem, so they're going to change that and put something a bit more classy. But that aside, although it's quite basic and quite simple looking, the helm works very nicely. When it comes to physically driving the 890, we couldn't have had much better conditions today to put it through, and it's safe to say that Rodman's pedigree for hot solid hulls has travelled down to this boat as well. The hull certainly feels comfortable. The driving experience is slightly let down by a few rattles and squeaks coming from doors, the window on the port side and the galley, but this is all stuff that Rodman say is going to be changed on hull number two, and let's hope so, because the hull itself feels absolutely superb and dealt with everything, and it's very dry too. In terms of performance, very impressive. I mean, these are the largest engines, twin 200s, 36 knots we've got even today, downwind in horrible conditions, so I think in calmer stuff you may be touching 40, but there certainly feels like plenty of performance for water sports and for just having a bit of fun out in the water as well. Below decks you have the berth that I'm sitting on here, which is perfectly big enough for a couple. There is another berth amidships as well, though you're going to have to be very close friends or family with the people who are using it because there's no privacy, there's not even a curtain. So it's quite cosy, and you do share this crouching room only toilet here, but again, if you're upgrading from an open boat, that is quite a luxury. What they do need to do is maybe provide a bit more storage down here. There's nowhere to hang clothes. These fiddles here are very, very narrow, so you can only really put phones and things down there, no clothes or anything. There is a storage void beneath this berth, but it's accessed by three quite small fiddly hatches. You have to lift the mattress up too, so it's not particularly convenient. What they'd be far better doing is putting a hatch in this part of the moulding here so that you can access it more easily. There is no shortage of competition for boats like this. The Veneto Barracuda range, the immensely popular Geno Mary Fisher range, but the Rodman 890 Ventura makes a good case for itself. It's a sturdy boat, it's got a fantastic range of engines. I think this boat with a single 300 would be a really good package. Great wheelhouse, very, very spacious. Okay, there's some tweaks that they definitely need to make to the accommodation, but this is hull number one and still classed as a prototype. So let's hope they make those changes, and they should have plenty of success with the 890.